right? So we are supposed to follow Christ as Christians, right? We have to follow his steps, which means that we cannot commit sin. So the message out here is that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we're God's chosen people. We're the Israelites of the Bible, right? And if we want to be true Christians, we got to have faith in who the world calls Christ. And he's described in the Bible as a black man, right? A dark-skinned man, right? And we got to keep the law, statutes, commandments so that we can be saved.
It's a new way, a new salvation for God's chosen people.
Right? So let me get back into it. Let me get Revelation 2. Right, let me get Revelation 2, verse 26, right? It says, he that overcometh. How you doing, brother?
My apologies.
No, you good, brother, you good. Right. Revelation 2, verse 26, it says, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, right? So right now, we're the tail, right? And all these other nations, they're the head, right? So we don't have power over the nations right now, right? In Deuteronomy 28:1, I said, if we start obeying the law, statutes, commandments, then we're going to be put on high above all nations of the earth, right? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? So in Revelation 2:26, when he says he's going to give you power over the nations if you overcome and keep his works unto the end, is very literal. You're going to have power over the nations, over all the other nations that oppress your people, right? So let's get verse 27. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I have received of my Father. So Christ received this from the Father. He's going to bestow it onto you, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But you have to overcome and keep his works, which is to keep the law, statutes, commandments, right? Have faith in Christ, right? That's what you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans need to do so that you can get out of here, right? So that's the message for you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We have been downtrodden, right? Downtrodden for so long that we need to come back, right? We have been beaten, right, to shivers by the other nations. Right, let's get Psalms 143. Let's get Psalms 143. This book of Psalms, chapter 143, and I'm going to start at verse 3. Right, it says, for the enemy hath persecuted my soul. Right, the enemies of the nation of Israel, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, have persecuted the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American soul. Right? That is what has happened, right? We've been beaten out of our nationality and our culture and our heritage and our customs, right? To where we don't classify ourselves, we don't classify ourselves as who we are, which is the Israelites. We calling ourselves American. We're calling ourselves African American, black, right? What race is black, right? That's just a color, right? And nobody's black on the earth, right? African American, you're from two different continents, right? Hispanic, that means a property of Spain. Do you really want your heritage and your nationality to be a property of another country? Property of Spain, right? That's your whole identity, is to be in a property, right? A Native American, right? You're not even native to America. This place wasn't even called America during the time the indigenous people were here, right? So you're not any of those things, right? You're not an Indian, right? Indian is a savage, right? But this is what they call us, to demean us, to demean the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? The enemies have persecuted our soul, right? Finish it out. He hath smitten my life to the ground. He hath made me to dwell in darkness as those that have been long dead, right? Therefore is my spirit overwhelmed within me. My heart within me is desolate, right? And that's the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. We're not, we're desolate here. This is not our rest, right? because the enemy has smitten us down to the ground, right? And that is what happened to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And we're now grossed in darkness. We're overwhelmed in darkness. Because what? Because we're in a land of darkness, right? Let's get that. Job chapter 10. Book of Job chapter 10, verse 20. 22. A land of darkness as darkness itself, right? And of the shadow of death, without any order, and where the light is as darkness, right? So they'll say, okay, the good is evil and the evil is good. This is this place right here, right? It's a land of darkness. You know, the alphabet community, that's good. Love is love, right? If you say that that's wrong, now you're judged, right? Wait a minute, I thought you're not supposed to judge anybody. But if I judge, and I, condemn the alphabet community, now all of a sudden I'm the one that's being judged, right? That's how you know this is a land of darkness, and light is as darkness in this place. It's upside down, right? And what does let me get believe it's Amos 5. Right, let me see. Amos 5 and verse 14, it says, seek good and not evil, right? That ye may live, and so the Lord, the God of hosts, shall be with you, as he has spoken. Hate the evil and love the good. We're supposed to hate the evil and love the good. But in this place, we don't hate the evil. We don't love the good. We love wickedness. We love everything that is sexually deplorable. We love everything that's, wicked in this place. And we don't hate the evil, right? All the wickedness, we don't hate it, right? All the travesties that have happened, atrocities that have happened to the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, it's just swept under the rug, right? You don't hate it, right? But you're supposed to love the good. You're supposed to love, right? What are you supposed to love? You're supposed to love recompense of tribulation, right? Because in 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6, it's righteous with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. The Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have been troubled, right? They have been smitten to the ground. So we should love the consequences that is going to happen to this place for what they have did to the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? Newsflash, disclaimer, public disclaimer, PSA announcement, right? This place right here is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, right? And if you're Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, you don't want to get judged right along with your enemies, right? You want to come back to God, keep his law, statutes, commandments, so you can be saved from this destruction that's going to happen. If you haven't realized, World War III is kicking up, right? Once World War III happens, that's it. Once those thermonuclear missiles start coming, that is it for this place. Everything that was built off of free labor of the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans is going to come crashing down, right? All the high towers, all the buildings, all the the fancy restaurants, everything that you people enjoy is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, right? So let's get Malachi chapter 4, right? Malachi chapter 4 and verse 1. It says, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, right? And all the proud, right? You got pride, right? The alphabet pride that goes on, right? This land is prideful, right? They claim that they're the best country, the best empire on the earth, in the world, right? In history, right? They think that they'll never come crashing down, but God is going to utterly destroy this place, right? He's going to destroy the proud, right? How y'all doing, family? Y'all love God? Can I give you one verse?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to give you one verse. 1 John chapter 5 and verse 3. It says, for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous, right? So the message is that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans were God's chosen people. We're the Israelites, and we need to come back to God and keep his commandments, right? All praises. so that we can get up out of here, man. Because I want to get up out of here. I don't want to continue to live paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to continue to live, right, Haggai 4, where it's, you know, my wages goes into a bag filled with holes. As soon as I get the money, it just goes away, right? That's, you know, the story of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? We're just making it by, right? But sooner or later, that's going to come crashing down. So let me get back to Malachi 4:1. It says, "For behold, the day cometh, thou shalt burn as an oven, and all the proud, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch." That's that good music. That's that good music, right? Apparently, right? That's the good music, right? Now, everybody knows the good music is actually the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? That be making good music, right? That's why everybody wants to copy our trends, right? Copy our, you know, we're the trendsetters, right? Music, entertainment, right? We have the athleticism, everything, right? Right? They want to be like us, right? This is why so many of these other nations, they start rapping now, they doing rap battles, all this type of stuff, because they want to be like us, but they don't want to actually be us, right? Because they don't want to go through what we actually go through, because they know that as God's chosen people, we got to be judged all the time, right? We got to be punished, right? But Malachi 4:1, I'm going to finish it out, right? We already finished it out, right? But the point is that this place is going to burn as an oven, right? Everything is going to be destroyed. It's going to be stubble, right? And the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are going to have an everlasting kingdom. Let's get Daniel 2 real quick. And I'm going to get a couple more scriptures, and then I'm done for the day. Right? It's the book of Daniel, chapter 2 and verse 44. It says, "And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever." Right? The everlasting kingdom that's going to be ruled by Christ, a black man, right? The Israelites are going to be reigning with him, right? This is going to be an everlasting kingdom, an everlasting dominion that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are going to have, right? So let's go to Isaiah 45, verse 17. Isaiah chapter 45, verse 17. "But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end," right? So we're going to have an everlasting salvation. We're never going to have to worry about, you know, being downtrodden anymore, being submitting to the ground anymore. We're not going to worry anymore about having tears on our faces, because the Most High God is going to wipe all the tears away from our faces, from our eyes, from the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We're not going to have to go through any more sorrow anymore, right? Don't that sound good, brother and sister? Right? Not to have any more sorrow anymore. Y'all Christians? Can I give y'all one verse? I'm gonna give y'all one verse. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 21. Right? It says, "For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example, that ye should follow his steps, who did no sin." Right? So we are supposed to follow Christ as Christians, right? We have to follow his steps, which means that we cannot commit sin. Sin, according to 1 John 3 and 4, is transgressing the Mosaic law, right? So we got to be keeping the law, statutes, commandments, right? So the message out here is that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we're God's chosen people. We're the Israelites of the Bible, right? And if we want to be true Christians, we got to have faith in who the world calls Christ. And he's described in the Bible as a black man, right? A dark-skinned man, right? and we got to keep the law, statutes, commandments so that we can be saved, right? So whenever y'all get time, look up New Wave Israelites, right? And y'all have a blessed day. All praises to the Most High God. I'm going to go ahead and get a couple more scriptures. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13, right? And it says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man, right? Our whole duty is to fear God and keep his law, statutes, commandments, right? Very simple and plain. And I'm going to get last scripture, Revelation 14 and verse 12, right? It says, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. So we got to have faith in who the world calls Christ, a black man from the tribe of Judah, right? And we got to keep the law, statutes, commandments of the Father, of the Most High God, right? And with that, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God Yahawah, in the name of his only begotten Son, who the world calls Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shah, to say Shalom.
Wow. It's a new way, a new salvation.